as you pointed out, you and I had this conversation last week. We took pains to not speculate because I think a lot of people like to speculate, and I think based on the conversation we started, a lot of people have started asking questions. But it's clear that there's age-related cognitive decline. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, his response to somebody fainting in the Oval Office really conveyed that. He didn't show any signs of concern. He didn't really do anything. He was slow to respond. And that slowness and fatigue you're seeing more and more in his public events. So that's one. Two, he's confused a lot. Three, he sometimes mumbles sort of incoherent nonsense when he's asked a question in the press pool in the Oval Office. So all these things, when this constellation of just him being him. Imagine if President Biden did any of those things. He did a fraction of it from what I saw and the lead up to the 2024 election, and people obviously forced him out of the race. You're not seeing that level of scrutiny until maybe now you're starting to see signs of it. But, President Biden was active on the weekends, especially riding his bike in Rehoboth Beach. Physical exercise was something that he was clearly doing, and we had visual signs of that. From a cognitive standpoint, sure, you slow down once you hit your late 70s, early 80s. No one denied that with President Biden, that he had his moments of being 80 or 82, whatever it was. In this case, the White House is not willing to even acknowledge that the president is showing obvious signs of age-related decline, one. But two, you don't see him ever really doing anything physically active the way that President Obama, President George W. Bush, President Biden, our last three presidents prior to Trump, regularly worked in to their daily life. I mean, Biden was biking, he was exercising, he was walking, and he made a point of creating that visual to convey that that was a big part of his daily existence. He made a point of engaging the press on the weekends. When he was biking in Delaware, you don't see any of that. And physical activity is one way to really guard against the onset of cognitive decline, dementia as we get older. So I worry about that as well. He might take trips out overseas in Air Force One. That doesn't substitute for the lack of physical activity. So Ben, when you put it all together here, clearly something is happening. And clearly they're not getting MRIs just because that's just the moment that we live in. There's a reason, and they're worried. And frankly, that's piecing this all together. There's a reason to be worried based on his public performance.